What was once the weird, funky new shoe on the block, and not many people really understood it. There was tons of foam. There was a lot of stack. It wasn't exactly a running shoe that we had seen before. And HOKA was trying to push this whole max cushion movement. And there's no better way to show that story and tell that story than through the eyes of the HOKA Clifton 10. But soon this shoe became the normalized option for walkers and runners alike. The HOKA Clifton is now on its 10th version, and it is a neutral daily trainer. It's best for running on the roads, and it's great for walking and running. And this is one of the most popular running shoes, not just from HOKA, but Fleet Feet too. If you actually look back on one of our other videos that we did on our top 5 best-selling running shoes from Fleet Feet, this shoe makes the list. But what makes this shoe so popular? Let's dive in and learn all about it. But before we can go anywhere, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps to support us as we keep putting out new videos. So let's just talk a little bit about the upper. In the upper, you can tell here, you've got the women's colorway here, and you've got the men's colorway here. You've got the blue, and you've got this like off-white cream. I really love the off-white cream colorway. But you know what? I was wearing the blue the other day, and I didn't mind it. I thought it was actually pretty nice. I typically don't love the color blue for running shoes, but I don't know, for me, this one kind of worked. But enough about cosmetics and design and some of the colorways. Let's just talk about what the upper is actually made of. And the upper is actually made of a jacquard knit upper. This isn't the first time that we've actually seen jacquard knit uppers in HOKA running shoes. We've seen them in the past as well, but now they've implemented it here into the HOKA Clifton. And one of the nice things about this shoe is that it actually has the extra eyelet at the top. So if you are someone who needs to use the marathon loop to lace down your shoes even more and get a little bit of extra ankle support, the HOKA Clifton does allow for that. Not much has actually changed from the 9th to the 10th version of the Clifton. You still get this nice flared out heel collar in the back. You have a nice cushioned tongue. It isn't gusseted, but it still has a really nice lockdown and fit around the heel collar and the midfoot. But one of the big things that our review team and myself included all found was that this shoe is much more spacious and wider than that of the previous model. And this is intentional. HOKA claimed a new fit for this shoe and decided that they wanted to make something a bit more accommodating. And that's one of the big stories about this shoe. While the midfoot and heel collar did lock in my foot nicely, I did find that there was more space in the toe box. And while our team did find that this shoe was a little bit more accommodating and spacious, our foot sizes and foot shapes are going to be completely different than yours. And the best way to find out whether this shoe or another shoe from HOKA is going to fit best for you is to actually walk into a local Fleet Feet store, get your foot scanned, go through the Fit ID process and the outfitting experience, and try this shoe on for yourself. You don't really always know whether a shoe is going to fit best for you unless you actually put your foot in it and figure out whether this shoe is going to be the best preference for you. And now let's move on to the midsole of the shoe, and that's where things start to get really interesting because there's been a few changes. The midsole has stuck with a compression molded EVA, so it's still that same EVA from the previous model. There's also still a meta rocker system in this shoe, so whether you're walking or running in it, it has that nice rotation of rocking sensation as it goes through your stride, which I think is really nice. And it just provides that extra bit of follow through and propulsion to just kind of glide you forward and assist you while you're on your walks or your runs. But the big story with the midsole here is that they've added 3 millimeters of stack in the heel, but haven't actually changed anything in the toe. So it is going to have a stack of 38 millimeters in the heel and 30 in the toe for the women's model, and 42 in the heel and 34 in the toe for the men's model. So this shoe is increasing in stack, but only in the heel, not in the toe. So the drop of the shoe has become 3 millimeters more aggressive. And the outsole of this shoe hasn't changed from the previous model to this one, and they're still using durabrasion rubber. It was great in the last model, it's still good now, and it keeps up and holds up well on the roads, and the traction's great on the shoe, and durability you can expect to be pretty similar as well. So let's move on to the ride and performance. And one of our reviewers, Kate, who's actually tested a lot of different iterations of this HOKA Clifton, had a lot to say about it. And for her, she actually took the Clifton out on a few walks and easy runs, and she actually found that it was fairly firm when she was walking in it, but she felt that as she was running and picking up the pace, it felt slightly softer. Something that she did appreciate appreciate in this shoe and did notice was that meta rocker system, just a nice gentle curvature, which is just allowing her to kind of guide her foot through the run. But for her, she recognizes that this shoe is mainly meant for comfort and not speed. She noticed that it's lightweight and that it's fairly nimble. She can pick up the pace in it when she wants to, but it's not really giving any sort of speed advantage, say like a shoe like the Cielo might. And one of our other seasoned reviewers, Heather, she actually found that this shoe isn't overly soft, it's not overly firm, it's just that do-it-all shoe. She calls it a Goldilocks shoe. She basically just says that, yeah, you can kind of put this shoe on and it's gonna accommodate a lot of different styles of running that you're looking for. And the weight of this shoe is pretty good. It actually comes in at 9.8 ounces or 277 grams for the men's model, and 8 ounces or 226 grams for the women's model. And the shoe comes in at $150. But is the shoe best for you, or is it best for someone else that you might know? Well, the HOKA Clifton 10 is a shoe that pretty much anyone can really enjoy, and that's really the special sauce about this shoe, is how accommodating it is to a large group of runners and walkers. Another reason why this shoe might be good for you is because you prioritize comfort and function above all else. And I'm happy to report that for a lot of Clifton loyalists, this shoe hasn't had a lot of major changes to it. So if you like the 9th version or the 8th version or the 7th version, yeah, there's been some tweaks here and there, but at the end of the day, it hasn't lost its identity and it's still that great neutral daily trainer. And another reason why this shoe may work best for you is if you're someone who needs a little bit of a wider option of sizing fit. So if you're someone who's got a wider foot and you know that you're gonna need an extra wide or wide version in this shoe, HOKA has now come out with versions for both of those. And if you want to learn even more about HOKA running shoes, you can check them out on our blog at fleetfeet.com or right here on YouTube, where we're going to be putting out new reviews of new running shoes weekly.